So I want to talk today in this little video snippet about upregulating emotions. You know, people usually come to therapy because they're having trouble with anger or sadness or shame and disgust. Those are the negative emotions that often bring people to therapy. But people who have problems with depression often have difficulties with upregulating the positive emotions. Now, we humans are genetically programmed to feel only 10 emotions. There are about 400 named emotions, but you get 400 from 10 by combinations, by different levels. And for example, fear goes from fear at the lower, or nervousness at the lower end, to terror at the upper end. So we're going to talk about that of those 10 emotions that people feel, only 3 are positive. That's kind of sad, but it's a fact. And so I want to talk about the 3 emotions are excitement, which goes on a range from interest to excitement, attachment, which goes on a range from attachment at the lower end to infatuation at the upper end, and enjoyment, joy, which goes from enjoyment to joy. So the trick here, as with all, or the secret, as with all the emotions, is first of all to find a scene when the person believes they felt some level of the emotion we're talking about, and then secondly, to find the sensations in the body by which their body's telling them they're feeling that emotion, and then third, to help them learn to upregulate that. So I'm going to focus, because so many of my clients are in relationships, and relationships are motivated primarily by this emotion that I call attachment. Some people call it yearning. There are other names for it, but attachment is the emotion that attracts us to another person. So we look, usually I can find with my clients, they have a niece or a nephew or one of their own children. It just needs a scene in which the child ran to the adult with their arms spread wide for a hug. And they might go, "Auntie, Auntie," and the adult reaches down and picks the child up and hugs the child. And that's the scene that we use. Now, sometimes people who don't have nieces or nephews or their own children, we use a pet. There's no problem with that. And people, you know, hug each other all the time. Well, sometimes. Men don't tend to so much, but at 12-step meetings, everybody does, just saying. So let's look at this. The child is running to the adult to be swooped up, and I ask the client, and I have them do this. This is a way of providing tactile alternating stimulation. I ask the client to do this and be in that scene where the child is running towards them, and to notice the sensations that come up for them. We have to separate attachment from interest, from excitement, and from joy. So I usually coach the person to look in their chest or in their heart. And I will say that 99% of people get this sensation, warmth in my heart. So as soon as they identify that, sometimes it's openness in my heart, but as soon as they identify that, I will ask them to repeat after me. The warmth in my heart tells me I'm feeling attachment. Good. Let that resolve itself, become as true as it can be. And the next piece is to be able to stay grounded and present while you feel it. And I've given in other of these video resources the grounding resource, so we won't do that here. And then once they've acknowledged that it's completely true, that the warmth in their heart tells them they're feeling attachment, I ask them to visualize a gauge. Like they might visualize a round gauge, like a steam gauge, or a long gauge, like a thermometer. Let's focus on a round gauge. And I asked them to, the gauge goes from 0 to 200. The optimal level is from 80 to 120. The upper end is infatuation. That's how you probably felt about your first boyfriend or girlfriend, when you just couldn't think of anything else, completely focused on that person and how important they were to you. So I asked the person to be in this scene with the child running to them, and then to set the intention that their gauge, let's focus on a round one, which goes from 0 to 200, will register the level of intensity of the attachment. What we usually get for children is someplace between 100 and 120, maybe 130. All right? And so then I asked the person to say, I am learning to measure the level, use my gauge to measure the level of my attachment. Now, sometimes people would like to feel more attached. For example, if a person is having difficulty with a spouse, and so I say, so bring up an image of your, let's make it a little easier with your sister that you're having an argument with. And as you're thinking about her, what's the gauge reading now? And the client says, well, that would be a 50. And I say, will you be willing to increase that to a 65? And the client says, yes. So now I say, just form the intention that in the next minute or two, as I coach you through this, the level of the intensity is going to go up to 65. And now notice that warmth in your heart. And notice as that increases by a degree or two in temperature, 51. And now notice as it moves from your heart out into the rest of your chest, 52, into your lungs, 53, and now moves down into your abdomen, 54, down into your thighs, 55, 56, into your lower legs and feet, 57, and now moves up your back, 58, into your shoulders, 59. That warmth that started in your heart and that's gotten warmer, moving down into your upper arms, 60, into your forearms and wrists and hands, 61, up into your shoulders and neck, 62, moving now into your face, 63, so you can feel your face getting slightly warmer. Now moving into your brain, 64, into every neuron in your brain, into every corner of your mind, 65. And now ask the client, please repeat after me. I am learning to increase the level of my attachment. Good. And a deep breath and let it out. And that's the skill for increasing the level of an emotion. I used attachment. You can use it for increasing excitement, interest, excitement, or you can use it for increasing the level of enjoyment, joy. Thank you. I hope this is helpful.